Hello and welcome all the lovely kids of Smt.R.S.Kalaria on the YouTube channel. Today in Standard 8 we are going to study the next chapter which is very interesting and loved by you all. That is chapter number 13 named as Sound. Yes, you people love to make the sounds in the class and outside also, isn't it? Yes, so today we are going to study something about sound. Now in lower classes you people have already studied what the sound is and how it could be produced. So when we are talking in the terms of the science, we know that sound is nothing else than the vibrations of the body. So here we have the sentence which is telling us that sound is produced by a vibrating body. So whenever anything that vibrates, so the common thing that we know is, yes, in lower standard we have experienced this also. Put your first two fingers on your throat and make the sound of the buzz, that is boo. You will feel the vibrations from here. So you know that the vibrations in our body is only making the sound. Let's go with the another steps. When do you know that the period is over? Yes, when the bell rings, you come to know that the period is over. So the sound of the bell, when it comes to your ears, you find that the period is over. Have you played the game which is known as the blindfold? Of course, yes. So what have you felt in that? When you are blindfolded on your eyes, you just recognize the sound of the footsteps of the other person who is closer to you or going far from you, and thus you can identify that the person is near to you or far from you, isn't it? Yes, so the sound is making so much important in our life. Now let's go with the aspects that when you close your eyes and sit silently or quietly for some time, you will realize that there are so many sounds that is coming in surrounding to us. Can you identify that? Do it experiment in your room or at your home when you are alone in your room. Just close your eyes and sit for a while. You will realize that there are lots of sound in your nearby places. For example, you can have the sounds heard by you as the sound of the vehicles, their horns, the birds chirping, and even some of the televisions being loudly spoken. Then you can have the radios also sometimes, some bell ringing, some of the mobiles being ringing, and some of the persons speaking loudly, some of them are speaking whispering. So these type of the different sounds you will be experiencing, and sometimes if you are living near the trees or having the plantations nearby you, you can feel the sounds of the leaves also moving and even the sound of the wind also blowing nearby your windows, isn't it? Yes, so these are the different types of the sounds that you can hear. Now let's go to the next topic that we have, that what is called the vibration. Now we have studied that sound is nothing else than the vibration. So vibration is something. What is it in the terms of the science? Let's have a look. To and fro or back and forth motion of an object is called the vibration. Now to look this, let's consider and have some of the experiments also, and we will be enjoying it. Now let us see the experiments by which we can say that the sound is being produced by the vibration. So let's have the experiment. So here I have taken a pen on which I am going to strike. I have handed it so that it is not touched to another things. Now let me just strike it with the spoon, and as soon as I will strike it, the sound will be coming for a short time. But if I will suddenly hold it after striking it, what will happen? The sound will be stopping suddenly. So let's see and experience it. This is the first time when I am striking and I will not touch it. So you can feel that the sound was for a long time. But now let's experience another thing. So now the sound has suddenly stopped. Why? Because I have suddenly touched the container which was vibrating. So here we can say that the vibration when stopped, the sound will also stop. Now for the another thing, let's have the experiment. This thing, you must be loving it, isn't it? Why? Because we used to do it in the school time also. We used to do it with the compass box, lunch box, whatever we have taken. Okay. Now what you used to do is we have the rubber bands being attached with the help of our pen or pencils on the corners. Okay. Now we can have that the sounds being produced by the rubber. So let us see and experience what will happen to this. So yes, you can experience some of the sound being coming over here. Now why it is coming? We know that there are some vibrations going on in the rubber band. Let me explain you how it is going on. We have seen that here are two pencils being placed and we have the rubber band over here. When we are striking it, what will happen? The motion of the rubber band will be turned to this way and it will be turned to this way. So for this reason, the sound is produced. Now let us feel the experiment of the rubber band. So this was the vibrations of the rubber band that we can see. Now here we have the another experiment which is going to tell us that how the vibrations are possible and how we can see them. So here I have taken a steel plate and a spoon. I have filled this steel plate with the water. Now I am going to strike the spoon on this side of the steel plate. You will see the vibrations in the water also. These waves are showing us that the sound is making the vibration. It is proven now that the vibration is only the cause of the sound. We have the table showing that some of the instruments are making sounds, but how? So let's have a look at this table. As you can see, here we have mentioned musical instruments and the things which is vibrating in this instrument. So have a look at that. The first one is saying veena. Veena is making the sound. How? By the stretched string present inside it. The second one is the tabla. How it is making the sound? By the stretched membrane on the top of it. The next one is the flute. How does it make a sound? Yes, the air columns which are present in the flute. The next we have is the manjira. How it is making a sound? By striking the plates of the manjira. Next we have the sitar. As we know that it is having the strings. So it is again the stretched strings which are making the sound. Then we have the drum. How does the drum makes the sound? Yes, similar to the tabla. It will be having the stretched membrane. The next one we have is the trumpet. Trumpet is also similar to the flute. So how will it make sound? Yes, by the air columns. So these are some of the musical instruments shown to you with their vibration being caused by which of the reasons. Now you must have seen some of the other instruments also, namely ghatam, the earthen pot and the manjira. Yes, these type of the instruments are also making sound, but by striking or beating them. The drum, the kangaroo, all these things are being beaten and they are going to produce the sound. Can you also name some of them? Yes. Please write the names of these instruments in your books and just identify how they are making the sound. Okay. So let's have the another experiment which is really very lovely and pleasant to the sound to hear. So let's have a look at that. Here you can see that we have taken 5 glasses and filled with different level of the water in it. Now as you can see, they are gradually increasing from one end to the other end. Now I have prepared this for making a musical instrument that you can also prepare at your home. So let's have a look at it. How does it work? You have to just take a spoon and strike it on the rim of the glass. You can feel the different sounds coming off it. Let's experience it. You can experience that the sounds are making different sounds over here. Now you would have understood that. How does it work? So this is called Jal Tarang, as it is made with the water and it is having a line. So it is a Jal Tarang. Now let's have the other topics of the sound. As we know that sound produced by the humans. So how we can produce a sound from our body? Let's have the look at that. Now we know that when we have kept our first two fingers on our throat area, this portion where it was vibrating while we are speaking. So what will be the experience? We can feel here the vibrations of the skin. You can say that the muscles are having the vibrations here continuously when we are speaking. Now this is what we have the voice box or the vocal cords, we can say. Now voice box is the thing where the voice is being coming out from here, and around it we have the two portions which will be acting as the vocal cords. Now there are two vocal cords surrounding to it, and this will be having a slit, means narrow opening, that is a slit over here, through which the sound is being produced when the lungs are exhaling something and when we have the inhalation. So while we are speaking, you can know that we are just exhaling. We don't inhale during when we speak out. Okay. So these are the things when we can experience by ourselves. Okay. So let's have a small experience by doing two little bit experiments. Okay. That also you will be loving it because you used to do it in the classrooms also. Remember taking these two small type of the pieces of the paper and we used to whistle it out from here. Remember that? Let me try it out for you. So you can also try it at your home by whistling, by making these two strips of the paper and have the sound to come out from here. So these type of the sounds are coming from the strip of the paper because of the vibration. This tells us that how does the vocal cord works inside our throat. Now I have another thing also for you. This is also one of the instrument by which you can make the sound. This is also going to tell us that how does the vocal cord inside our throat works. So I have made like this, making a hole and just put it a bit over here and just making the sound out of it. Let us experience it. Yes, this is because the vibration is being produced over there in the paper. So, and due to this hole, the air will be flowing from here and which is going to make a sound. So this is how the vocal cords also work when the lungs are exhaling the air through this vocal cord. That is the windpipe we have over here, from where the air is going to exhale and it is going to work out with the vocal cords and thus the voice will be coming out. Let's have this experiment which will tell us that how does the sound makes the loudness. So let's experience it. When we'll be making the sound from the mobile, you can feel that the sound will be high. But now if I will be closing the container, you will feel that the loudness will be less and the sound will be dull. Let's experience it. So, you must have experienced that the sound has become dull when the container was closed, and when again we have opened it, again the sound was loud. Here we have new topic which says that sound needs a medium for propagation. Now, as we have seen the experiment, in that experiment we have tried to see that how does the sound propagates in the air medium. Okay, so we know that there are three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gaseous. In gaseous, just now we have experienced that how does the sound propagates. When it was being closed, the sound was not able to propagate so nicely. But in the same experiment, if we can vacuum it, we could not even hear the single sound from that. But that is not possible by us because we cannot make it a vacuum. So, we know that air can have the sound to propagate from it. Now, let us experience for the water. In this picture, you can see that a boy is placing a bell in the water which is filled, the tub which is filled with the water. Now, what he is doing? He is just putting his ear close to the water level and trying to hear the sound. Yes, by this experiment, he can hear the sound in the water also, because we know that the sound travels in all the three mediums. So, yes, you can see here what the boy is doing. Okay, so by this we can conclude that the water is also a medium where the sound can propagate. Now, let us experience for the solid substance also. You must have played a game in your class also while no teachers are present. What you used to do? Yes, you used to do that you put your head, your ears on the bench and you strike it on the bottom of the bench. Remember that? Or in the sides of the benches, or you tell your friend to strike on the bench and you listen to the music, isn't it? So, let us do the same thing just now. Now, let us experiment about the solid, that how does in solid the sound can transfer. So, I have taken this wood log. Over there, I am going to make a sound. Can we hear from one end to the other end? Let's have the experiment. By this way, we can feel that yes, the sound was being propagated in the solid substance also. When I strike on the one end of the log, on the other end, you can hear the sound. So, it tells us that sound can propagate in the solid medium also. Now, do you know that what is this? Yes, a lovely kid toy that you can also prepare at your home. Now, what is this? Actually, it is a telephone which we used to play in the childhood days. Remember that? Let me play with you people. So, I am giving the telephone to the other person. And let's have the experience that what will be happening when the sound is being produced over here.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
So, this was being spoken by the other person. You must have heard that it is being traveling from the string. So, by this way we can say that the sound can also travel through the string. And by this we prove that the sound needs, first one was the air which was done in the lunch box with the mobile. The second one I have shown you the picture of the water. And the third one about the solid, we have played a game with the wood log and even with the string also. So, it proves that the sound needs a medium for propagation. Let us experiment a thing where we can find out that how does the sound makes the vibration. For that, we have taken here the thermocol ball and the rubber. So, let's have that. You can see that the feeling of the thermocol ball, how they are dancing. It shows us the vibration being going on the rubber. Now, let us see how our ears can hear. So, the next topic is the same. We hear sound through our ears. Now, as you can see in the picture given over here on your screen, there are the outer ear and the inner ear. So, the things which is available to see from outside is known as the outer ear, and the ears which we could not see, which is present inside our brain, is known as the inner ear. Now, the picture also is showing us that we have the outer ear, and that out of it, after it, what we have? We have the eardrum. Now, the vibration of the sound which is going to come inside our ear is going to strike to the eardrum. This eardrum will be vibrating and will be going through the vibration to the brain. So, this will tell us that what the sound has came into our ears. Here it is mentioned that when the sound enters, it travels down the canal, at the end of which there is a thin stretched membrane. Now, this is what the eardrum is. First of all, the shape of the ear, you can see that it is something like a funnel, isn't it? Opening wide from the top and narrow from bottom. So, it is like a funnel shaped. Now, it performs an important function. What performs an important function? It is a eardrum. Because of the eardrum, we can have the vibrations inside it and the brain can hear it. Means we can have the message which is being given from the ears. So, in this ears, we can see that the sound vibrates, make the eardrum vibrate, and the eardrum sends the vibrations to the inner portions of the ear, and from there it goes to the brain. The signal goes to the brain, and then we can hear the sound which is fallen into our ear. So, here we have the inner ear showing that the bones are present, and some we have the oscillatory motions over there, and we can see even the muscles over also here. As you can find it very easy and nice to see the ears which is inner, but how very much it is going to see that it is not so simple, it is very complex one from inside, isn't it? So, in 11th and 12th standard also you will be studying this in very much expanded form, and that is also very lovely. We know that our elders are always advising us to not put any of the sharp objects into our ears. Why? Because of this eardrum only, because it will be harming the eardrum and make it break down, and because of that we can become the deaf also. So, never put your pointed objects inside the ears. We have studied that the to and fro motion is called the vibration, and the other name of the vibration is oscillatory motion. Now, how it is so? Let us see. The oscillatory motion means what? Suppose a pendulum is working. How does it work? When a pendulum starts from one of the end, it goes to the other end, and again it returns to the same origin point. Now, that will be considered to having the one oscillation completed. Now, thus the topic also says the same thing, that is the amplitude, time period and the frequency of the vibration. So, we are going to see in this topic these points. So, oscillation means what? We have studied oscillatory motion, the motion of a pendulum like structure when it starts from one end and again ends up in the same origin, that will be considered one oscillation. Now, oscillatory motion is having some of the more wided experimental words, that is called the frequency. Now, what is this frequency? Frequency means what? Oscillations taken in second will be considered to be the frequency. Suppose one experiment, we can say that one oscillation in per second will be considered to be the frequency. Now, we know that every substance or every counting things will be having one of the unit by which it can be identified. So, even the frequency also have the unit, that is called the hertz. It is symbolically mentioned as capital H and small z. So, what is 1 hertz? 1 hertz is equal to 1 oscillation per second. Now, after that, we can have that, suppose I will tell you an experiment or question being asked from my side to you. You can say that if there are 20 oscillations going on per second, so what will be the frequency for that? Yes, you can think and tell, its frequency is called 20 hertz. So, we know that the number of the oscillations per time in the seconds will be considered to be the frequency. Now, let us have an experiment to see more things about the loudness and the pitch. Now, here we have to check out the amplitude by which the sound can have, the loudness and the pitch. So, let us have the amplitude to be find out with the help of this thermocol ball and the glass. It is completely empty and I am going to strike it with the help of the spoon, and we will be seeing that what type of the sound is going to produce, and it is going to move this thermocol ball from the rim of the glass. So, oscillations of this glass, of this thermocol ball will be telling us that how does the sound makes the amplitude. So, let us check it out. I have striken this a little gently. Now, let me strike it with a hardness. So, let us see what will happen to it. So, by this way you can come to know that when the thermocol ball was oscillating faster, it was a harder strike to the glass, but when it was striking a little bit gently, it was oscillating with a low motion. Now, let us see how the loudness is connected to the amplitude. For that, we have a formula being given. Now, the first one is loudness of the sound is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. So, here I have shown you that how it is possible. So, loudness is proportional to the square of the amplitude. Now, what will be happening when we are having the square of the amplitude? So, it says that when amplitude is 2 times, loudness will be equal to that. For example, let us have an example for that. Suppose the amplitude becomes 2 times, for example. So, what will happen over here? It has become 2 times. So, what will be the result of the loudness? Yes, you can say that the loudness will be 4 times, isn't it? Now, if the amplitude becomes 3 times, then what will be resulting to the loudness? Loudness will be equals to 9 times. Okay. So, this will be showing that we can say that the loudness is proportional to the square of the amplitude. By this way, they are connected with each other. Now, we have a small table which will be telling you these relations in decibels. Now, what is this decibel? A new word. Now, decibel is the unit used for the loudness. It is the loudness which is being expressed in the unit called the decibel. So, let us have a look at this table. This table is going to tell that what are the sounds which we are making and how much loudly we are using to have these sounds. So, these are the decibels in which units which we are telling that we are speaking and we are experiencing this type of the loudness every day. Yes, the first one you can see, it is saying that normal breathing which we used to do every second. So, what will be the sound for that? Yes, it is making the loudness of 10 decibel as you can see over here. The second one which you have is the soft whispering which we used to do in the class at the back benches. Remember when the teachers don't see to us, look at us. Okay. So, here it is making that 30 decibels is the sound being produced when we are just whispering. Then we have normal conversation. Normal conversation means when we are talking to each other in a simple way. So, that will be making the 60 decibel of the sound, that is the loudness of the sound. Then we have the busy traffic. As we know that every traffic points we can see the traffic is making so much of the sound. That sound will be equal to the loudness of the sound will be equal to 70 decibels. And the last we have is the factories or the machines which are working over there in the factories. The average factory will be having the 80 decibels of the sound loudness coming from their sound. Now we know that there is a limit for our ears to hear something. So that limit will be exceeding, if it is exceeding the 80 decibels of the loudness of the sound, it will be making us feel very bad physically. So a person could have the headache also for this reason. So you should not be hearing the sound which is more than having the loudness more than 80 decibels. So factories, thus the factories are placed not close to the residential area, it is far away from the residential areas. Let's have a look at the new topic, that is audible and inaudible sound. The sounds which we can hear is known as audible sound, and the sound which we could not hear is known as the inaudible sound. Now, do we know that there are so many of the sounds in the world existing still, but we cannot hear to them. Why? Because we have a range in our ear which will be not listening to the higher range or the lower range. Now, the lower range is what? If a substance is making the sound less than 20 hertz. Now, what is this 20 hertz? Yes, we know that the frequency. So, when the 20 vibrations are going on in 1 second, that much of the sound we can hear. But if it is less than that, we cannot hear to that sound. And higher is 20,000 hertz. So, 20,000 vibrations going on in second will be heard to us, but higher than that will be out of our syllabus. Okay, so we could not hear to that sound. Now, what are the other things or the animals? Can they hear the sounds which is higher than our level? Yes, the dogs which are used by the police. So, what will be happening to them? There are some of the instruments, that is the whistles being made in such a way that these dogs can hear it, but we the human beings cannot hear to these voices. So these are the whistles being prepared for that purpose for the police. Now the next thing we have is the noise and the music. Now what is this noise and music? The difference between voice and noise and the music, you know very well. What is that? The pleasant sound. When we love to hear any sound, that will be known as the music. Whereas the sound which we not like to hear is known as the noise, which generally pupils do when the teachers are absent or when you don't want to study. That time a loud noise is being caused in the class, isn't it? So that is what the noise is. So we can say that the musical instrument, when they are played at a nice volume, they are known as the music, whereas the same instrument when blowed or when having the walking but at high volume is known as the sound, which will not be liked by the other people. Okay. Now the next topic we have is the noise pollution. We know that we have already studied in the lower standard. The unwanted thing present in the air is known as the air pollution. Unwanted thing present in the water is known as the water pollution. Likewise, we have the unwanted sound present in the air will be causing the noise pollution to us. The examples of the noise pollution, you know? Yes, the loudspeakers, vehicles horning every time. These are few of the examples. Even the instrument which are used in our kitchen, the electrical appliances, they will be having a loud noise which will be causing the noise pollution. And when a person is addicted to the noise pollution, it may cause so many diseases to that person. We know that. Yes, there are so many causes by these noise pollution. We feel that it is a noise pollution, what it can do, but it can harm our body physically and mentally a lot. So let's have a look at that. So what are the harms that will be caused by the noise pollution to the human body? Let's have a look at that. We can say that we will be feeling the lack of sleep, we can have the hypertension, that is the high blood pressure, and we can have the anxiety, and many more health disorders may be caused by this air pollution. So children, you are advised not to be close to the noise pollution or not to wear the headphones or the earphones which are giving us the noise pollution. Pleasant sound, for some time it is okay, but regularly or more often will be causing the noise pollution in our body. A person who is exposed to a loud sound continuously may get temporary or even permanent impairment of the hearing. So, deafness could be there if you are addicted to the noise pollution. So, be aware from this age, otherwise at the longer age we may face these problems. The next topic we have is measures to limit the noise pollution. If we are having the noise pollutions, what could be the steps which will be loosen or will be make it less in the noise pollution? The first thing, we know that to give the plantations near the sources of the voices. So, we can have the plantation close to the roadsides, in between the roads, and we can have the plantations nearby our residential areas, and thus the roads are having so many plants around it, and we can also plant it by ourselves nearby our home or the places where do we live. The next thing that we have is we can place the silencing engines, or we can have the silencing devices in some of the engines of the vehicles. We can have it in the appliances of the home, or we can have it in the bikes and so many automobiles. Because of this, what will happen, on the roads also there will be less of the sound that is coming, and because of that we can have less of the noise pollution being caused in the air. So, these are some of the remedies by which we can less down or having the some less amount of the noise pollution being caused. So, these are the things. Now, we can do it by ourselves also. By how? Yes, if we will be keeping our TV volume at less amount, then also we can reduce the noise pollution by our level. If we can hear the sound of any other musical instruments, home theater and any other DJ at low volume, it will be also making the noise pollution very less. Now, let's have the hearing impaired. Now, what is this hearing impairment? We are blessed by God that we can hear very nicely, and even we are having the nice of the volume. But do you know that there are so many children, those who are born with the deafness? So, these people can speak, but you know that when you listen something, you speak the same thing. These children, those who don't have the working ear, what will happen to that? Because they could not hear anything, they cannot speak also. Being having the vocal cords or having the voices in them, still they could not speak anything. Why? Because they could not listen anything, and thus they could not express it in the words or in the sentences. Now, there are some of the accidental or some of the problems in the ears which are caused by chance. So, if the child is not deaf from the born, but still by some accidents it has occurred to it, then also we can treat them. Nowadays, we are having so many of the machines available which are just implanted in the body in such a way that the person can now hear with artificial instruments placed over here in the ears. So, this will be helping them deaf persons to listen a lot and making their life very happy. So, by this we end up the chapter, but before that let's have a small recap of whatever we have studied in this chapter. So, from the starting of the chapter, we have seen that how the musical instruments are making the sound in them by making some having the different things in the musical instrument. We have taken so many of the experiments to see that how the sound is being produced in different substances. Then we have just came to the sound produced by the human body. So, how does the sound make in the human body? By the vocal cords and the slit between them. Then we have seen that the sound requires a medium to propagate through. So, we have seen that in 3 mediums it can travel very well, but in vacuum it is not possible for sound to propagate. Then we have went with the sound through our ears. So, in that we have seen even the structure of the ear, which we have seen in the picture, that how the outer ear and the inner ear are working in our body. Then we have seen about the loudness and the pitch of the sound along with the amplitude of the sound. So, this was making the difference in the loudness, pitch and the amplitude of the sound. Then we went with the topics, that is audible and inaudible sounds, and thus next was the noise and the music which we love to have. The next one was the noise pollution and remedies how to reduce the noise pollution, and the last one was the hearing impairment. So this was the chapter sound. I hope that you people have understood this chapter very well. Thank you.